Welcome to the Committee 100 panel discussion on food and product from China, the issue of safety compliance. My name is Charlie Wu. I own a toy company headquartered in Los Angeles. It used to be that product voluntary recall was an uneventful event, an uneventful practice that allowed the manufacturer to correct mistakes and to improve consumer welfare. Yesterday, the CEO of Mattel mentioned that prior to last year, they had 2 or 3 recalls, on the average 2 or 3 recalls a year. I bet you did not know that because there was no media coverage on product recalls until 2007. It started out with a controversy about pet food. We have an expert that can discuss that. Every pet owner in America somehow believed that their pet was victimized by product from China. And then the Thomas Train scandal, the recall, one of the household items, and then the Fisher-Price Mattel recall. Fisher-Price represent probably the highest quality product with the most well-recognized brand name for toys. The idea is if it could happen to Mattel and Fisher-Price, it could happen to anybody. My own company, for the last 30 years in business, we never had a recall. But this was such a wake-up call that I had to spend up at night to discuss with my colleagues in China and Hong Kong to go over every step of our quality assurance process to make sure there's no holes and there's anything that could cause a recall, because it was a pretty devastating PR disaster for a company to be involved in such. And I even contacted a PR firm just in case my company would be involved in a recall. And then he spent a lot of time studying all the public statements of all the companies involved in recalls and came up with a statement that would basically say, outline the safety procedure of my own company, how safe my product has been, and this is just one very isolated incident, and I have taken measures to correct that, and the consumer will have nothing to worry about. And that little incident probably, most likely was the fault of our Chinese supplier. I look at that, I say, no, I cannot issue that statement in the event that I have a recall. Number one, I would not do the finger pointing in any situation. Number two, even if I was willing to do that, can you imagine an American company owned by a person with an Asian face, a Chinese name, blaming the Chinese for the problem? It would work for other companies, but it would not work for an Asian American business. I also had many suppliers from China asking me whether the recall frenzy was related to politics or anti-China sentiment, whether if the problem would go away if the political wind shift, or when Mattel apologized to the Chinese government, whether that problem would be lessened and go away. Unfortunately, the answer is no. The answer is no because consumer confidence, it might take a long time to develop, but it could go away overnight. Secondly, the rule of the game now has changed, or in the process of being changed. For many years, all the rules, safety rules in the book, the government and many other importers really didn't pay that close an attention until last year. Not only the government is enforcing every line on the regulation, they are changing the regulation by the minute and to make it a lot harder. And then you have state and local government that want to take the lead in protecting the residents of their jurisdiction, so they want to have a tougher standard than the federal rule. So you have a situation where each state, each city might have their own safety rules concerning products in addition to the federal regulation. And for a Chinese supplier that had to deal with the standards, European standards, American standards, and standards of different companies, and then a product that's perfectly safe in China or in Middle East or Central and South America would be unsafe and illegal to sell in the United States or many European countries. So this is a very confusing situation. And one more thing that I need to mention is that it has been very exciting to see many entrepreneurs, that company that start out really small in China, and it's through the global trade, and they grew and employed more people in China and became prosperous. At the same time, there are many entrepreneurs in this side of the Pacific with China connection also had that entrepreneurial spirit, with people from two cultures, the same spirit, come together, and they have to create innovation and prosperity is truly very exciting. However, I think that kind of a business environment probably would be severely changed because of all the rules and regulations. You know, China has the best scientists, engineer, management talent. Making a toy safe is not that difficult. However, China, the manufacturing base, is no longer dominated by very few state-owned enterprises. And you got entrepreneurs from different regions, different backgrounds, and it's very difficult to create a standard overnight. It will take some time. I think it's really important for us during this period of transition to really come together, to bring together different perspectives, to find a solution so that we speed up the time when Chinese products can be considered safe and regain the American consumer confidence. That's why we have this discussion today. And at this moment, I'd like to introduce my co-moderator, Clarence Kwan, fellow Committee 100 member, and National Managing Director for the Chinese Service Group of Deloitte. He has, among his many international duties, he spent 7 years in Beijing. It's my pleasure to share the podium with Clarence.